Tritriangle is what Tritriangle is.
Trying to push an agenda to broaden the history of the space into more critical media performance. Trying to ask the question why of a lot of media performance, which tends to, I think, fall back on tropes of established performances, and I think it's fitting and it's suited to a lot more than just I'm making sound, so I'm calling it music, or I'm doing video, so I'm calling it, so I call it that. I mean, I think that the naming conventions and different ways in which we approach the making of work for a live audience, or for an audience which is implicated, can be expanded. If we weren't artists, it would make a whole lot of sense for us to be looking towards a community-oriented space. What we put out there as artists ourselves influences the way people view our curating practices, what we're interested in. So there's that, but it also goes beyond that. I mean, I think that it's important for me, at least, to show work that isn't something I would ever do, but that fits within our mission statement. There are different ways of approaching this sort of setup that we're placing out there.
It's not just about us contributing to the community as much as facilitating a community to gather and have discussions about work and have a place to show work. So while we do both make work on our own as well, and we contribute to that community, I think we both like to see ourselves as facilitators. And we feel really privileged having this opportunity to have a space that we can share with everybody else.
Performing media, it all seems to tie together and make the most sense for what are you doing to create a relationship between like a mediated form and the unmediated brain space. All forms, regardless of and inclusive of their mediating actions, have a performativity to them. And trying to flip the lens so that we're actually paying attention to those mediating actions, both as live performers or as makers of objects and documents. That's, I think, at the heart of performative media. And it puts the experience of the viewer at the forefront of the making experience, so that what happens when somebody observes an artwork, whether it be a performance act or a document, that implies action, and that makes the viewing experience of a sort of prime concern. We're looking forward to having more multimedia, activating video, and I'd like to see a lot of other forms of mediation come into play and see people trying to tackle deeper issues within the connection between documentation and live action, and that's where I'd like to see the space focused personally. I think Will and I agree on that the space for media arts to be expanded to be critical of the types of media is, I think, something that exists in the art world and in the broader arts community, and that's just something that I don't know that there's a really good home for in Chicago, and I want I want us to be able to provide that.
Make sure you're grabbing.
It's connected.
Well, that's why.